What up, guys? Right On Sports News. We're back. It's been a long time. And today we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys and Tampa Bay Buccaneers game that just happened. Just got done watching it. I'll start off by saying that was one hell of a game. A lot of fun to watch. And what we're going to start talking about today is the fact that everybody's so hyped up about Dak Prescott and saying what a fantastic game he had. He threw for over 400 yards. He only had one pick. He came close to winning the game. And I'm just saying, let's hold up. Hold up just a second. I mean, if anybody watched the game, you'd realize Dak Prescott did not do too hot. Now, I will give him credit. He looked better than what I thought he would. He had 11 months off. And when he did come back from the ankle injury, he had a shoulder ailment that happened in practice, and then he wasn't able to really practice, and he missed all of preseason. So I will say, for all that happening, he did look pretty good. But the fact of the matter was, I mean, hell, for an NFL quarterback that's supposed to be a star, it was not a heroic performance that everybody's making it out to be. When you think about it, he threw for 400 yards. Stats, boom, great. If you didn't watch the game, stats look fantastic. He threw the ball for 60 times, though. If you throw the ball for 60 times, I sure as hell would hope you can throw the ball for 400 yards. I mean, Jesus. Anybody can throw for 400 yards if they throw it 60 times. It was the same story last year when Dallas Cowboys were playing. Dak Prescott played in the first 4 games of the season, ended up getting hurt in the 5th game against the Giants. But during that span, he threw for 1,500 yards. Looks good on the stat sheet, but he was throwing the ball, once again, 60 times a game, and they weren't winning. They were 1-3 during that stretch, and they were down a huge margin to the Giants in that Week 5 game. They ended up coming back winning that Week 5 game. The refs definitely helped them out in that game. We won't get into that. But anyway, they were 1-3. Should have been 0-4, actually, because that one win came off that wacky Falcons win that I'm sure everybody remembers that. I mean, the Falcons always find a way to lose. The Cowboys did not deserve that win. Anyway, they should have been 0-4. And he threw for all those yards. And everyone's like, oh, Dak Prescott, what a fantastic guy. Fantastic quarterback. And it's like, what good are you if you can't win the game? It is a team sport. There is a lot that goes into it. The defense has always been atrocious for the Dallas Cowboys ever since DeMarcus Ware. But it's like, damn, if you can't win the game, what good are you? And if you're going to take all that money that Dak held out for and wanted so much of, some of that money could have went to put pieces around you, especially on defense, so that you can actually make the playoffs. Because this is a team that missed the playoffs last year, and even with the healthy Dak Prescott, more than likely would not have even made it last year. And they missed it. Yeah, they missed it 2 years ago too, when the Eagles ended up winning the division. Carson Wentz was still on the team. Oh, you lost to Carson Wentz. Yikes. Anyway, he did not look good. In reality, he should have had 3 interceptions. He only had 1. There's 2 easy dropped ones, one by Jameel Dean in the end zone, another by Levante David also in the red zone. And that they put points on the board on both tries. Well, actually, I'll have to check. I don't think they did on the Jameel Dean one. I know they definitely did on Levante David. But it's just, damn, they should have had 3 interceptions on Dak Prescott. That would have definitely changed the night and it changed the way we thought about his night. He did not look good moving around the pocket. And all we kept hearing is that the ankle's 100%. The ankle's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. He's fully back. After 11 months, he's fine. And it's like, you see him moving around in the pocket. He seems a lot slower than he used to be. and he just definitely did not look comfortable at all. He moved around a little bit. He scrambled a tad bit, but he did not look like his normal Dak Prescott mobile self, able to extend the play. And then his arm. He ended up getting a shoulder injury in practice, and he wasn't really able to throw in practice till around, I believe, 2 weeks ago. It was light toss, and then last week he got into some competitive drills, I guess, is what they want to say. And especially early in the game, he did not look comfortable throwing the ball. Anytime he would try to throw the ball 20 yards down the field, it looked like he was testing it, but he just couldn't do it. I mean, a lot of the passes were short. And then he did put did put a little mustard on a few, but it just didn't look consistent. And to say that Dak Prescott was fantastic and it was a heroic performance, I guess off the injury, you might have a little bit there. It was good for the amount of injuries he came off of and adversity he had to fight through. But all that aside, it didn't look good. It just didn't. And I'm sorry, all of you Dak Prescott and Dallas Cowboy fans that are going to be so angry at me. Who cares? He did not look good. There's nothing you could say that would lead me to believe, maybe. I watched the game. He looked like shit. And you looked at the Cowboys offense, Ezekiel Elliott was just a non-factor. And he's been a non-factor ever since he got paid last offseason. He didn't look good last season, and hell, he definitely didn't look good here. 11 carries for 33 yards. He just looked like shit. And I guess against a top Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive line, they're always top. They're a top defense. You can understand it, but at the same time, for the amount of money that Ezekiel Elliott's getting paid, you expect him to put up a better performance against those top guys. Best on best. And you pay him that money, so he goes out and beats the best. And wow, did he get pummeled. He looked awful. And that's just, I don't think Ezekiel Elliott's a top 5 running back in the league anymore. I think it's a stretch to say top 10. It just does not look good. Granted, they didn't have Zach Martin, but all I heard at the top of the day up until game time was, oh, they got these 2 big tackles back. It's going to be great. Great offensive line. All they're doing is missing their guard. They'll be fine. Ezekiel Elliott looked awful. And even when, he wasn't even running towards Zach Martin's side anyway for the most of the game, and he still was getting beat. It did not look good for him. Dallas Cowboys defense looked like shit, as always. Like I said, they've been atrocious since DeMarcus Ware. They did the best they could, but at the same time, you don't look at the Dallas Cowboys defense as if they're going to go out and win a game for you. You need to put up 30 points and able to win a game. That's just how it is. I don't care if it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't care if it's a college team like the Oregon Ducks. You're going to need to put up 30 points to win a game. That defense will not stop anybody. And that whole night, they were just giving Brady whatever he wants. Everybody was open. Pick your poison. Granted, they have a lot of offensive weapons. And it's a young Dallas Cowboys team. But as we saw it last year, they were terrible no matter who they went up against. And it looks like the exact same story this year. We'll see next week how they fare, but they really didn't. They didn't do anything to beef up their defense either. They drafted Micah Parsons, and that's all I heard early in the game too. Was, oh, Micah Parsons this, Micah Parsons that, and every time I look in his direction, he was getting burnt over the middle of the field. He didn't do anything to help the Cowboys in any way, shape, or form. I believe he had like 1 or 2 pass deflections that were easy enough. Hell, I could have done them. Other than that, he was getting toasted all over the field. It did not look good. Dallas Cowboys defense does not look good. The Dallas Cowboys team as a whole, just, they look as you expect. Maybe a 9-8, 8-9 team. They don't look good at all. And will they make the playoffs this year? They might, with a wild card. The division's terrible. They might come out with a division. You never know. But with those wide receivers, they'll keep them open. Amari Cooper had a good night. CeeDee Lamb had a decent night. He dropped a ton of passes. Could have had a fantastic night, but he just dropped everything that came in his sight, it seemed. Either way, not impressed by the Dallas Cowboys whatsoever. Didn't expect to be. Moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was a team coming off a Super Bowl win. They want to go back-to-back. They just, other than Tom Brady and Antonio Brown, I was not impressed by any facet of this team. Mike Evans was just dropping passes like crazy. He looked uninterested in the plays. He was giving up too early, especially on tip passes late in the game. He wasn't catching them, and then even on tip balls, he was just nonchalant with it. Didn't even seem interested in the play. You need better from that. Mike Evans is a top wide receiver, a borderline top 5 wide receiver. The past 7 years he's been in the league. You would expect a lot more. And 3 receptions for 24 yards, not what I'm looking for. Not for Mike Evans, not for the money that he's getting. You expect so much more. Chris Godwin put up numbers. The stats will say that he did well, but him as well. Dropped passes. He had 2 or 3 in the game. 2 big ones, I remember. And it's just, and a fumble as well. You expect a lot more from Chris Godwin. Just, it's unfortunate. It looked like week 1 they were not prepared. But the one person that really surprised me, and I guess it's not really a surprise, because I was saying it at the beginning of the season, well, before the season, I was thinking, Antonio Brown could be a sneaky candidate for comeback player of the year. And he looked like vintage Antonio Brown from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had over 120 yards, 1 touchdown. He looked crisp in his routes. He looked fantastic, torching every Dallas Cowboys corner they tried to send on him. They couldn't cover him. And that's what I like to see from Antonio Brown. I'm a big Antonio Brown fan. I loved seeing it. And I think he could surpass Chris Godwin on this team as the number 2 wide receiver and could have a 1,000-yard season. And if he does, I think he's going to be top of the line for comeback player of the year. Love his story, and I hope he does it. Moving on to Tom Brady, though. Well, yeah, we'll move on to Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady in this game. And if you follow my channel, you know I hate Tom Brady. But, wow, did he look impressive. I mean, no matter where he wanted to go with the ball, he was fitting it in there. Yeah, I mean, zipping the ball. Tight spirals, he looked fantastic. Putting the ball wherever it needed to go. There was a lot of drop passes. He could have had a lot more. He did throw 2 interceptions. If you guys didn't see the game, you only look at the stats, you say, oh, Tom didn't look too good. He threw 2 picks. The 1 pick was on a Hail Mary pass. I don't really count those. It was a Hail Mary at the end of the half. It was a 50-50 ball. You don't count those. And the other one was a pass. It was a little halfback screen to Leonard Fournette. It hit him right in the hands, and it tipped up and got picked off by Trayvon Diggs of the Dallas Cowboys. And just a little side note, I hate when Chris Collinsworth, in that moment, picked it off. Chris Collinsworth, oh, look at the Dallas Cowboys defense, not letting them breathe. Look at them go. It was a tip pass that Martha Stewart could have caught. I mean, let's be real here. Anybody with hands other than Leonard Fournette could have caught that pass. It wasn't anything that the Dallas Cowboys defense did. It was a tip pass in the air that they picked off. That's not something you run home about and hang on the fridge. You got lucky. Tip drill. You got lucky. Other than that, I mean, Fournette wasn't a factor tonight either. He didn't look good running the ball. There wasn't a whole ton of lane. The Cowboys defensive line did a good job in not making too many lanes. But I suspect the Buccaneers offensive line will get better at that as the year progresses. Ronald Jones didn't look too good. He had a fumble. And just the Buccaneers, if they're firing on all cylinders, if they're healthy, another big thing was Sean Murphy-Bunting in the first half ended up getting hurt. And that's why a lot of the Dallas Cowboys receivers were getting open, because they really only had one corner the whole night. They don't have that much depth at the cornerback position. And that's the one weakness that the Buccaneers have, is that they just don't have depth at the cornerback. And when one went down, we saw Dallas Cowboys receivers started getting open. It took Amari Cooper a little bit to kind of figure out how to get open against the backup. A little concerning as the self-proclaimed best receiver in the league. But that's for another day. Anyway, like I'm saying, if the Buccaneers are firing on all cylinders, if they're making those catches, Tom Brady stays the way he looked today, the running game gets a little bit better, like we saw in the playoffs last year. If their defense stays healthy, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and maybe favorites to go back-to-back. Them and the Chiefs are neck and neck. And we haven't seen the Chiefs play, but we know what we're going to get out of them. So the Chiefs and Buccaneers, that might be a second-year Super Bowl back at it again. That would be fun to see. But the Buccaneers, if they can get firing, I have no worries that they might be able to go back-to-back. But that being said, they didn't look too good for week one. Normally, Brady never looks good week one. He did this year. But the Buccaneers as a whole, they need work to be done. Dallas Cowboys, there's a lot of work to be done, but at the same time, we kind of expected this performance. Just not able to close it out. A lot of weaknesses on the team. We never expected the Cowboys to go anywhere. A couple delusional Cowboy fans think that they can win the Super Bowl. Maybe in 2073, perhaps. But they're not going anywhere. They might make a wild card. They might sneak that division. But other than that, they're a first-round exit easily against any other decent team. The Cowboys aren't going anywhere. They did not impress me. Tom Brady very much impressed me. Never been a fan, but fuck. You got to give the man credit where credit is due. He looked fantastic. Buccaneers, they get it together. It's a wrap on the season. That's it. That's it for this video. Fantastic game. If you liked it, like, comment, and subscribe. Always remember, right on, brother. I'm glad to be back, and I'll see you in the next one.